All right, guys, we got a reading test today. I'll give you a little preview of your essay that you have to do. Don't turn it in, not done. In fact, you could take it and pluck it right off of you. So you have the reading answer key, you have the reading essay, and then you have the reading test now. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at this. Way to Go Grandma is told in first person, while The Good Old Days is told in third person. Explain how the point of views affect the way a reader sees characters in the story. Support your answers with clear text evidence. We're going to pick just one of those. You do whichever one you want. I'm going to do Way to Go Grandma because I'm better at first person point of view. Okay? So we're trying to see how it affects it. Now, I'm going to be Grandma, so Grandma's going to say the kid's going to say I, and so we're going to know how the kid feels or thinks. And so those are the things I'm going to look for as I'm reading the story. And I'm going to come up with my essay points as we read this story and circle them. Here we go. Jamal, how do you think your sister Kaylin is doing in college? Grandma asked me. How about your brother Michael's new baby, little Jaden? Way out in Oklahoma. I hope he's over his cold by now. Grandma, I said, so here the kid's name is Jamal. Grandma called him that already. Now Jamal's going to talk and tell us the rest of the story, and you're going to hear all these I's and me's. Grandma, I said, let me show you how to send emails so you won't have to guess how they're doing. If Kaylin got an email from you, she'd be so amazed that she'd reply to you in seconds. Besides, I think Michael's wife would love to email you every time Jaden coughs. Okay? So how do you think this kid feels about emails? I think he feels that they're easy and a good way to communicate. That's going to be one of my points, and I'm going to use this as text evidence. Grandma smiled at the thought and then said, You've been offering to teach me how to use the computer for a long time, Jamal, and I do appreciate it. Sighing, she shook her head in confusion and bewilderment. That means confusion. Bewilderment is to be confused. Unfortunately, I think technology has passed me by. However, it does take so long for them to answer my letters. So Grandma's still writing letters. And you send the letter, and it takes a couple days to get there, and then it takes a couple days to get back, and boy, a lot of things can change. Email's much quicker. Why don't I send Kaylin an email now? I suggested, and you can tell me what to say. So now he's going to teach her. She doesn't really want to, but he's going to teach her. Grandma's face lit up. Her hesitation and doubts, she's Louise, hesitation and doubts were gone. She knew she could do this. She was ready now. She pulled me over to the computer and I pushed me down in the chair. If you insist, she said eagerly. Eager means she's really excited to do that. I opened my email account and typed the first letter of Kaylin's address. The whole address immediately appeared in the to box. My grandmother was amazed. How did the computer know we were going to write to Kaylin, she asked. Now, that's kind of silly for us because people who send a lot of emails know that. As soon as I start typing in S. Bauer, immediately my wife's name pops up and her email address up because her name is Sarah Bauer, so her email address is S. Bauer at Garden Homes. Well, he loves this, obviously. Makes it easy to type address. I'm going to use that one in my essay maybe. Boy, I got 3 already. Let's keep going here. Grinning, I said, it's magic. I guess he's kind of teasing his grandma here. Grandma rolled her eyes and started telling me what she wanted to say to Kaylin. As I typed, I purposely made mistakes. So Grandma was so frustrated with me that she said, oh, get up and let me sit down. I can type better than that. Oh, this kid's kind of tricky. He tricked my wife's just like this. If I type so bad, she'll finally type it for me. Oh, well, okay, I said, trying to hide my cleverness. My quick thinking even surprised me. It wasn't often that I outwitted Grandma. I gave her my seat and with no help or hesitation from me, she typed a long email to Kaylin. When she was finished, I pointed out the send button, and she clicked it. So this kid's pretty clever. I could put that in my essay. Smiling from ear to ear, Grandma asked, "Do you think Kaylin will be surprised when she gets my email?" "I think she'll probably faint," I replied honestly. Then Grandma looked longingly at the computer and asked, "Do you think we can find out how little Jaden is doing today?" Sending an email to Jaden's mom would really be the icing on the cake. Now, is emails really icing on the cake? No, that's an idiom. What do you think that means? Icing on the cake. Probably a really good thing, right? Without waiting for my answer, Grandma poised her fingers over the keyboard. "Just tell me the first letter of Michael's email. The computer will do the rest." Boy, Grandma's catching on quick here, right? So I told her, and she started typing. I left to find the book I had been reading, but a few minutes later, Grandma called me back to the computer. The computer was dinging. Now, ours sometimes does this in class. Usually I have mine muted, but if I get a new email, my computer will send me a little ding. She said with a frown, "Did I do something wrong?" I glanced at the screen. "You got a reply from Kaylin. I guess she didn't faint for long." Grandma poked me in the ribs with her elbow and demanded, "Show me how to get to her email, young man, and hurry." So Grandma and this young man, Jamal, had a pretty good day here. Jamal taught Grandma how to email, and obviously Grandma's pretty excited about it. All right, well, think about those things for your essay here. We'll come back to the essay after we take our questions. You should have your answer key out. We're on number 1. If the passage were written from Grandma's point of view, the reader would know. Now remember, Grandma would be talking, so you know how Grandma thinks and feels. How Kaylin is doing in college? No. Whether little Jane's cold is better? Why Grandma is reluctant to use the computer? Would Grandma know why Grandma's reluctant? Yes. Okay, good. And how much Jamal wants to help her with the computer. Number 2, read the sentence from passage. Sighing, she shook her head in confusion and bewilderment. Which word in the sentence helps the reader understand what bewilderment means? Is it confusion, head, shook, or sighing? I think I gave you that answer already if you were listening as I read the story. 3, read this sentence from the passage. Grandma's face lit up. Her hesitation and doubts were gone. She knew she could do this. Which word means almost the same synonym as hesitation in the sentence above? Calm, joy, uneasiness, or unhappiness. And I'll give you a clue. It's not unhappiness. Okay. Number 4. The first person point of view in this passage helps the reader understand that Jamal is he embarrassed by his grandma's lack of computer skills? Is he curious about the lives of his brother and sister? Is he tricking his grandmother into typing the email? And is he proud of his computer skills? Now, it said he was proud of his cleverness, but it didn't say he was proud of his computer skills. So, not that one. Which of those other 3 did it say that Jamal was? And we knew this because of its first person point of view. All right, number 5. Read these sentences from the passage. Okay, I said, trying to hide my cleverness. My quick thinking even surprised me. It wasn't often that I outwitted Grandma. Which word from the sentence helps the reader understand outwitted? Is it cleverness, hide, often, or surprise? Number 6. How did Jamal's feelings toward Grandma's change during the passage? Jamal's feelings towards Grandma changed from wanting to help her to losing patience with her. Did he ever lose patience with her? I'm not sure I read that. From losing patience with her to accepting her. From wanting to help her to feeling proud. From concern about her to accepting her. Which one do you think it is? Number 7. Why does Jamal purposely make mistakes as he types. Was it to get his grandmother to type the email? To show how easy it is to send an email to his sister Kaylin? Or to anger his grandma? I'll give you a hint. It's not to anger grandma. Don't do that. All right, last three here. Number 7 says, in the passage, if the passage were written, Number 8. Read the sentence from the passage. I gave her my seat, and with no help or assistance from me, she typed a long email to Kaylin. What does the word assistance mean in the sense above? Commit, help, limitation, or setbacks. With no help or assistance to me. That one's pretty easy. Number 9, read this sentence from the passage. Sending an email to Jaden's mom would really be the icing on the cake. What does the idiom icing on the cake mean in the sentence? Sending an email is sweet? Sending an email is like eating cake? Jaden's mom really likes the frosting on the cake? Sending another email would be another good thing. I just sent an email before I gave this test, and I didn't taste anything sweet, so make sure you don't get tricked by that one. All right. Number 10. Read this sentence from the passage. She pulled me over to the computer and pushed me down in the chair. If you insist, she said eagerly. You can tell that Grandma sends an email only to please Jamal, is pretending to be angry to send an email. Is pretending to be eager to send an email, doesn't want Jamal to know she is excited to send an email, and is pretending that Jamal is pressuring her into sending an email. She pulled me over to the computer and pushed me down the chair. If you insist, she said, keyword here, eagerly. Now, don't pick either of those two. It's one of either these H or I. Doesn't want Jamal to know she's excited to send the email, or is pretending that Jamal is pressuring her into sending an email. If you insist, should be your clue. All right, guys, that was the first of 3 reading videos. I'm going to give you a little time, a little break, and then come back for the second half of the reading test, and then the essay.